I'm Sienna, 28 years old. 5 years ago, at my parents' funeral, my sister threw me a bank card, called it Charity for the Adopted One, then kicked me out of the only home I'd ever known. I felt so humiliated that I shoved that card into a drawer and never touched it. Not once. For 5 whole years. I struggled. I worked 2 jobs. I survived on instant noodles and cold apartments. Meanwhile, my sister lived in our parents' house, posting vacation photos from Europe. Then last week, I finally decided to go to the bank and cancel that card forever. The teller looked at her screen. Then she looked at me. Then she said one sentence that made my entire body go numb. Before I continue, if you enjoy stories like this, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely want to hear how this ends. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your location and local time in the comments. Now let me take you back 5 years, to the day of my parents' funeral. The funeral home smells like lilies and furniture polish. I stand near the twin caskets, my hands clasped so tight my knuckles have turned white. Mom and Dad, gone. A drunk driver ran a red light 3 days ago, and just like that, gone. I was adopted as an infant. Richard and Margaret Thompson chose me, raised me, loved me for 23 years. They never once made me feel like I was anything less than their daughter. But Valerie did. My sister is 6 years older than me, golden child, perfect grades, perfect hair, perfect life. And ever since I can remember, whenever our parents weren't looking, she'd lean close and whisper, "You're not really one of us, you know. They just felt sorry for you." I learned to ignore it. I told myself she didn't mean it. Today, I learn how wrong I was. Sienna. Valerie's voice cuts through my grief. She's standing by the front row of chairs, her black dress impeccable, her makeup flawless despite the occasion. "You're sitting back there," she points to the third row. "But," I start. "Front row is for immediate family." Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. "You understand." I feel the stares. Aunt Patricia, Mom's younger sister, frowns and starts toward us. "Valerie, what are you—" "It's fine, Aunt Patty." Valerie's voice is sweet as arsenic. "I've arranged seating according to the funeral director's recommendation. Immediate family first, then extended relatives." She looks at me when she says extended. Aunt Patricia opens her mouth to argue, but her husband tugs her arm. She gives me an apologetic look and sits down. I walk to the third row alone. The service begins, and I cry silently while strangers pat my shoulder and call me the poor adopted girl. I have never felt more alone in my life. 3 days after the funeral, my phone rings. "Ms. Thompson, this is Harold Whitman's office. We're calling to confirm your attendance at the will reading tomorrow at 10 a.m. Before I can respond, Valerie appears in the hallway. She'd insisted I stay at the house until we sort things out. Now I understand why. "Who's that?" she asks. "The lawyer's office. About the will reading." Valerie takes the phone from my hand. "Hello?" "Yes, this is Valerie Thompson Hartley. My sister won't be attending." She pauses. "Because only legal beneficiaries need to be present. Thank you." She hangs up. "Valerie, I have every right to—" "Sienna." Her voice is patient, like she's explaining something to a child. "The lawyer said only people named in the will need to attend. You're not named. Mom and Dad left everything to me." My throat tightens. "How do you know that?" "Because I'm their daughter." She says it so simply, so finally. Their real daughter. I want to argue. I want to call the lawyer myself. But Valerie is already walking away, and I'm too broken to fight. The next evening, she comes home with a smile I've never seen before. Satisfied. Triumphant. "The house is mine," she announces. "All the investments, the savings accounts, everything. They left it all to me." I grip the kitchen counter. "And me? They left me nothing?" Valerie reaches into her purse and pulls out a plain white envelope. Inside is a single bank card. She tosses it onto the counter like it's trash. "This had your name on it. Probably an old account they forgot to close. The lawyer said it's likely empty." She shrugs. "Consider it their last gift to you. A participation trophy. I pick up the card. My hands are shaking. The next morning, Valerie stands in my bedroom doorway. You have 24 hours to move out. I look up from the box I'm packing. What? This is my house now, Sienna. Legally. I don't have to let you stay here. Valerie, please. I hate how my voice cracks. Just give me a week. I need to find an apartment, figure out 24 hours. She checks her watch. Starting now. I spend the next hour calling everyone I can think of. Aunts, uncles, cousins, anyone who might take me in, even temporarily. The responses are all the same. Oh, sweetie, we'd love to help, but we don't want to get involved in family disputes. Valerie said you were being difficult about the inheritance. Maybe you should just accept what your parents decided. I heard you demanded half the house, even though you're just the adopted one. That's not very grateful, is it? By the fifth call, I understand. Valerie has been busy. She's already told everyone her version of events, and they believe her. Aunt Patricia is my last hope. Ciao Guy, she says softly. She always calls me that. It means niece in Vietnamese, something she picked up from a college roommate. I want to help you, I really do, but your uncle says we can't get involved. We're having our own money troubles right now. I understand, Aunt Patty. Sienna, listen to me. Her voice drops. Something isn't right about all this. Your mother would never… She stops. Just don't throw anything away, okay? Keep everything they gave you. I don't understand what she means, but I nod anyway. I will. That night, I tuck the bank card into my purse. Not because I think it's worth anything, but because it's the last thing with my name on it that my parents touched. Exactly 24 hours later, Valerie arrives with a locksmith. I'm still packing when she walks into my room with 2 large garbage bags. Time's up. I just need another hour. You've had your time. She starts grabbing things from my dresser, photos, jewelry, books, and shoving them into the bags. Whatever isn't out in 10 minutes goes to Goodwill. I scramble to save what I can. My baby photos, Mom's handwritten recipe cards, a pressed flower from Dad's garden. Valerie watches me with her arms crossed. You know, she says, you should be thanking me. 23 years of free housing, free food, free education. Most adopted kids don't get half of what you got. I don't respond. I can't. The locksmith finishes changing the locks. He looks uncomfortable, avoiding my eyes as I drag my suitcase past him. Outside, I see Mrs. Patterson from next door watching through her window. Mr. Reeves is pretending to water his lawn. A teenager across the street has his phone out, recording. Valerie follows me onto the porch. Just so we're clear, she says loudly, clearly performing for the neighbors, I don't have any obligation to support someone who isn't family. Mom and Dad are gone. There's no reason for us to pretend anymore. I turn to look at her one last time. My sister. The girl who used to push me off swings and blame me for broken vases. The woman who waited until our parents were buried to show her true face. Goodbye, Valerie. She doesn't respond. I walk down the driveway with a suitcase in one hand and a trash bag in the other. 23 years of my life, reduced to what I can carry. The bank card is still in my purse. I don't know why, but I can't bring myself to throw it away. 6 months later. I live in a studio apartment in a part of town I never knew existed. The walls are thin enough to hear my neighbor's TV. The heater works maybe half the time, but it's mine. I pay for it myself. Every morning at 5 a.m., I clock in at the coffee shop. I work the register, make lattes, clean the espresso machine when it jams. At 3 p.m., I clock out and walk 4 blocks to a restaurant where I wash dishes until midnight. I eat employee meals. I buy groceries from the discount bin. I haven't bought new clothes since I left that house. Some nights, when the exhaustion gets too heavy, I sit on my mattress and cry. I miss my parents. I miss the smell of Mom's cooking and the sound of Dad humming while he read the newspaper. I miss being someone's daughter. I don't miss Valerie. The bank card sits in my nightstand drawer, still in its envelope. I've thought about checking it a dozen times. Walking into a bank, inserting it into an ATM, seeing what's there. But every time I reach for it, I hear Valerie's voice. Probably empty, a participation trophy. And I can't do it. Because if she's right, if our parents really left me nothing, then maybe she was right about everything else too. Maybe I was never really their daughter. Maybe I was just a charity case they felt obligated to keep. So the card stays in the drawer. And I keep working. It's easier to be exhausted than to face the truth. My coworker Mia asks me sometimes why I never talk about my family. I don't have one, I tell her. She doesn't push. She just makes sure I eat lunch. Small kindnesses. They're all I have now. 1 year after the funeral. I'm on my break, scrolling through Facebook on my cracked phone, when I see it. A post from a cousin I barely remember. So happy to celebrate Valerie's gorgeous home renovation. The Thompson house has never looked better. I tap the photo. My childhood home. Except now it looks like something from a magazine. New windows, new landscaping, a fresh coat of paint in colors my mother would have loved. I scroll through the comments. Valerie deserves this. She's been through so much. Your parents would be so proud of what you've done with their house. Living your best life, girl. I keep scrolling. More photos. Valerie and her husband Derek posing in front of a new BMW. Valerie on a beach in Italy. Derek at a casino in Vegas. Chips stacked in front of him like towers. Then I see a comment that makes my stomach drop. Aunt Patricia. I wish Sienna could have been here today. Underneath it, this comment has been deleted. Valerie deleted it. Of course she did. I close Facebook and stare at the wall of the break room. Outside, the espresso machine hisses and customers laugh and the world keeps spinning like nothing is wrong. On my nightstand at home, there's a stack of bills: electric, rent, a medical bill from when I got the flu and couldn't afford to miss work. I think about the house I grew up in, the room that used to be mine, the kitchen where my mom taught me to bake. Valerie took it all, and everyone believes she deserved it. I shove my phone in my pocket and go back to work. There's nothing else I can do. 3.5 years after the funeral. Things are better, not good, but better. I'm a shift supervisor at the coffee shop now. I quit the dishwashing job. I have health insurance for the first time in years. My apartment is still small, but I've made it mine. Thrift store curtains. A plant Mia gave me that somehow hasn't died. A photo of my parents on the wall, the only one Valerie didn't manage to grab. I've learned to build a life without a family. I've learned that survival is its own kind of victory. The bank card is still in my drawer. Sometimes I forget it's there for weeks at a time. Other times, I catch myself staring at the drawer at 2 a.m., wondering. I never open it. Thanksgiving's coming up, Mia says one morning as we prep for the rush. What are your plans? Working, I say. Someone has to cover the holiday shift. She looks at me with that soft, careful expression she gets sometimes. You really don't have anyone? I think about Aunt Patricia's voice on the phone 3 years ago. Think about the deleted Facebook comment. Think about all the relatives who believed Valerie's lies without ever asking for my side. I have you, I say. And free coffee. That's plenty. Mia bumps her shoulder against mine. Well, I'm making a turkey this year. You're coming over after your shift. I smile. It still feels unfamiliar on my face, but it's real. Okay. That night I pass by the drawer and think about the card again. Maybe I should just throw it away. Finally let go of the past. But something stops me. Aunt Patricia's voice. Don't throw anything away. I leave the card where it is. I'm not ready. Not yet. I know some of you watching right now have been through something similar. Maybe your family treated you like you didn't belong. Maybe they chose money over love. If you're still here with me, comment strong below. Just so I know I'm not alone in this. And if you want to find out what happened when I finally decided to deal with that card, keep watching, because everything is about to change. 4 years after the funeral, I come home from work to find an envelope in my mailbox. Thick, cream-colored, expensive. The return address reads, Law Offices of Harold Whitman Esq. I almost throw it away. I assume it's junk mail, or worse, some kind of legal notice about debts I don't know I have. But something makes me open it. Dear Ms. Sienna Thompson, this matter concerns the estate of Richard and Margaret Thompson. It is urgent that you contact our office immediately. There are time-sensitive issues regarding assets that were designated specifically for you. I have attempted to reach you through multiple channels over the past 4 years without success. Please call at your earliest convenience. Regards, Harold Whitman, Attorney at Law. I read it 3 times. Assets designated for me? That can't be right. Valerie said I wasn't in the will. Valerie said everything went to her. I crumple the letter and throw it in the trash. It's a scam. It has to be. 2 weeks later, I get a voicemail. Ms. Thompson, this is Harold Whitman. I was your father's attorney and close friend for over 30 years. I've been trying to locate you since the funeral. Your sister told me you'd moved abroad and wanted no contact with the family, but I never believed her. A pause. His voice softens. Your parents loved you, Ms. Thompson, more than you know. They made arrangements, special arrangements, to protect you. Please, call me back. I save the voicemail. I don't call, because if it's real, it means Valerie lied about everything. And if it's a lie, it means I'm still hoping for something that will never come. Either way, I'm not ready to know. The card stays in the drawer. The voicemail stays on my phone. I go back to work. 5 years after the funeral, present day. I'm cleaning the espresso machine when Mia runs into the back room, breathless. Sienna, you need to see this. She shoves her phone at me. It's a real estate listing website showing properties scheduled for foreclosure auction. One of them is my childhood home. Wait, isn't that your old neighborhood? Mia asks. You mentioned growing up near Maple Street. I stare at the screen. The house looks different now. Run down, paint peeling, lawn overgrown. Nothing like the magazine perfect photos Valerie used to post. How did you find this? My boyfriend's in real estate. He was talking about a property in your area, mentioned the owner's drowning in debt. Gambling husband, apparently. Lost everything. She pauses. The name's Thompson. I remembered you mentioning that was your family name, so… Thompson. Valerie Thompson Hartley. I scroll through the listing. Foreclosure due to mortgage default. Outstanding debt, $400,000. Auction date, 2 weeks from now. My mind spins. Valerie inherited everything. The house, the savings, the investments. How could she possibly have lost it all in 5 years? Then I remember Derek at the casino in Vegas. The chips stacked like towers. Of course. I hand the phone back to Mia. Thanks for showing me. Are you okay? You look pale. I'm fine, I lie. That night, I stand in front of my nightstand for a long time. The lawyer's letter, the voicemail, the bank card, the house where my parents raised me, where my mother taught me to cook and my father read me bedtime stories. It's about to be sold to strangers. Unless… I open the drawer. The card is still there, untouched for 5 years. Maybe it's time to finally find out what it's worth. The next morning, I walk into First National Bank for the first time in 5 years. My hands are sweating. My heart is pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. I tell myself I'm just going to cancel the card, close whatever account is attached to it, cut the last tie to a family that threw me away. That's all. A woman at the service desk waves me over. Her name tag reads Grace Miller. How can I help you today? I place the card on the counter. It looks so ordinary. Plain white plastic with a chip and a number. I'd like to cancel this card, please. Grace picks it up, examines it, then types the number into her computer. She frowns, types something else. frowns deeper. Ma'am? Is something wrong? She doesn't answer. Her eyes are fixed on the screen, moving back and forth like she's reading something she can't quite believe. Could I see your ID, please? I hand over my driver's license. She studies it, then looks at me, then looks at the screen again. You're Sienna Thompson? Yes. Sienna Margaret Thompson? Born March 15th, 1998? Yes. My voice wavers. Is there a problem? Grace stands up abruptly. I need to get my manager. Please wait here. Wait, what's going on? Is the account in some kind of trouble? She pauses, her expression unreadable. Ms. Thompson, this card, it's not a regular debit card. Then what is it? She opens her mouth, then closes it, shakes her head. My manager will explain. Just, please don't go anywhere. She hurries toward the back offices, leaving me standing at the counter with my heart in my throat and 1,000 questions I'm afraid to answer. What did my parents leave me? Grace returns with a middle-aged man in a gray suit. He introduces himself as the branch manager, but I don't hear his name. I don't hear anything except the blood rushing in my ears. Grace sits back down across from me. Her hands are trembling slightly. Ms. Thompson, she says carefully, I can't cancel this card. Why not? Because it's not a debit card. It's an activation key. Activation key for what? Grace glances at her manager. He nods. 5 years ago, your parents, Richard and Margaret Thompson, established a trust fund with our institution, a private trust, completely separate from their regular estate. It was designed to remain dormant until you personally presented this card at one of our branches. I grip the edge of the counter. A trust fund? Yes, ma'am. How much? Grace takes a breath. $5 million. The world tilts. I hear myself say, what? But the voice sounds far away, like it belongs to someone else. $5 million, Grace repeats gently, plus 5 years of accumulated interest. The total current value is approximately $5.4 million. That's not possible. My sister said, your sister was never informed about this trust. It was set up in complete secrecy. Your parents were very specific about that. Grace slides a sealed envelope across the counter. They also left this for you, to be delivered only when you activated the trust. The envelope is yellowed with age, my mother's handwriting on the front. For our daughter Sienna. We love you. I can't breathe. My parents didn't abandon me. They didn't forget me. They didn't love Valerie more. They knew. They knew exactly what Valerie would do, and they protected me anyway. I start to cry right there in the bank, and I don't care who sees. Grace hands me a box of tissues and doesn't say a word. I take my time. 5 years of grief, 5 years of doubt, 5 years of wondering if I was ever truly loved. It all comes pouring out in that sterile bank office. When I finally stop shaking, I open the envelope. Inside is a handwritten letter, 3 pages long. My mother's elegant script, my father's scratchy signature at the bottom. I read it slowly. My darling Sienna, if you're reading this, then what we feared has come true. We are gone, and Valerie has shown her true colors. We know our eldest daughter, sweetheart. We've watched her grow, and we've seen the darkness in her that she hides so well from others. We tried to help her. We tried to teach her kindness, generosity, love. But some lessons cannot be forced. We knew that when we died, Valerie would try to take everything. She would tell you that you weren't really our daughter. She would make you feel like you didn't belong. We couldn't stop her from inheriting the house. The law required it. But we could protect you in secret. This money isn't charity, Sienna. It's not pity. It's not guilt. It's love. You are our daughter. Not because of blood, but because we chose you. Because you grew in our hearts the way other children grow in their mother's wombs. Because watching you become the woman you are has been the greatest joy of our lives. Don't let Valerie make you forget that. Don't let anyone make you forget that. We love you, baby girl. We always have. We always will. Forever yours, Mom and Dad. I press the letter to my chest and cry again. But this time, the tears aren't grief. They're gratitude. That evening, I call Harold Whitman. He picks up on the second ring, like he's been waiting by the phone for 5 years. Ms. Thompson? His voice is warm, relieved. Thank God. You knew about the trust. I helped your father set it up. He came to me 6 months before the accident, said he needed to protect you from Valerie. He knew what she was capable of. I sink onto my bed. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I tried. Frustration creeps into his voice. Right after the funeral, I called the house. Valerie answered. She said you'd moved overseas, that you wanted nothing to do with the family or the estate. She said if I contacted you again, she'd file a harassment complaint. And you believed her? No. That's why I kept trying, but every address I found for you turned out to be wrong. Every phone number was disconnected. It was like you'd vanished. I think about those first months after being kicked out, moving from temporary housing to temporary housing, changing phones because I couldn't afford the bills, never updating my address with anyone because I had no one to update. Valerie didn't just kick me out, she erased me. There's something else you should know, Harold says. The trust was designed so that only you could activate it, by presenting that card in person. Your parents knew Valerie might find out about it somehow, might try to access it herself. This way, it was impossible. They thought of everything. They loved you, Sienna. Everything they did to protect you. I'm quiet for a long moment. Then I tell him about the foreclosure auction, about my childhood home about to be sold to strangers. I want to buy it back, I say. Harold doesn't hesitate. I'll make the arrangements. 2 days before the auction, Harold and I meet at his office. He slides a folder across his desk. The property details. Minimum bid is set at $350,000, but given the location and condition, it could go higher. How high? Hard to say. Maybe $500,000–600,000 if there's serious interest. I think about the number Grace told me at the bank. $5.4 million. I can afford that. Harold nods slowly. You can. But Sienna, I need to ask, are you sure this is what you want? You could buy a new house anywhere. Start fresh. You don't have to face your sister. That house is where my parents raised me. It's where my mother taught me to make her chicken pot pie. It's where my father would stay up late helping me with homework even though he had work the next morning. My voice cracks. Valerie doesn't get to take that from me. Not anymore. Harold studies my face for a long moment. The auction is public, he says finally. Valerie will be there. She still owns the property until the gavel falls. She'll see you. Good. She won't take it well. I know. He leans back in his chair. Your father would be proud of you. The words hit me harder than I expect. I'm not doing this for revenge, I say quietly. I'm doing it because that house is part of who I am, part of who they made me, and I'm not going to let it disappear into a stranger's hands when I have the power to save it. Harold smiles, a small, sad, knowing smile. Then let's get you ready for an auction. For the first time in 5 years, I feel like my parents' daughter again. Okay? This is where everything changes. Before I tell you about the auction, I want to ask, if you were me, would you show up and face Valerie? Or would you let it go and start over somewhere new? Comment yes if you'd confront her, or no if you'd walk away. I made my choice. Now let me tell you what happened when I walked into that room. The auction is held in a conference room at the county courthouse. Folding chairs, fluorescent lights, a podium at the front with a microphone and a gavel. I arrive early, dressed in the nicest clothes I own. A navy blazer I bought at a thrift store last year, pressed slacks, my mother's pearl earrings that I managed to save. I choose a seat near the back. The room fills slowly. Real estate investors with clipboards. A young couple holding hands nervously. A woman in a business suit typing on her phone. And then Valerie walks in. She's changed. Her designer clothes look wrinkled, her makeup hasty, her hair not quite as perfect as it used to be. Derek trails behind her, pale and gaunt, his eyes darting around the room like a cornered animal. They sit in the front row. I watch Valerie's shoulders shake once. Derek puts his hand on her arm, but she shrugs him off. I almost feel sorry for her. Almost. The auctioneer takes his place at the podium, clears his throat. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here today for the foreclosure auction of the property at 247 Maple Street. Valerie sits up straighter. Her knuckles are white around the armrest. Opening bid is $350,000. Do I have $350? A man in the corner raises his hand. $350? Do I have $360? The young couple bids, then the businesswoman, then the man again. The price climbs, $370, $380, $390, $400,000. Valerie is crying now, silently, her shoulders trembling. Derek won't look at her. I wait. The bidding slows at $420,000. The auctioneer looks around. Do I hear $430? I raise my hand. $500,000. Every head in the room turns toward me, including Valerie's. For a moment, the room is completely silent. Valerie's face goes through a dozen emotions in the span of 3 seconds. Confusion, recognition, disbelief, then something that looks almost like fear. Sienna? Her voice cracks. What? How? The auctioneer clears his throat. Ma'am, we have a bid of $500,000. Do I hear $510? A pause. The businessman in the corner shakes his head. The young couple whispers to each other, then sits back. $510? The auctioneer repeats. Anyone? Silence. Then the businessman raises his hand. $510? I don't hesitate. $600,000. A murmur runs through the room. That's well above market value for a house in that condition. People are staring at me like I've lost my mind. The businessman shakes his head. He's out. The auctioneer looks around one more time. $600,000 going once. Valerie stands up. Wait. Wait. You can't let her. Ma'am, please sit down. This is a public auction. But that's my house. My parents left it to me. The auctioneer's voice turns cold. Ma'am, this property is in foreclosure. You defaulted on the mortgage. It no longer belongs to you. Derek tugs at Valerie's arm. Val, stop. You're making a scene. Going twice. I meet Valerie's eyes across the room. She's crying openly now, mascara running down her cheeks. Sold to the woman in the back for $600,000. The gavel comes down. The room erupts in whispers. I stand up, my legs shaking but my voice steady. For the record, I say, loud enough for everyone to hear. That house was my parents' house. And the money I'm using to buy it? That's from my parents, too. The inheritance they left me, their adopted daughter. Valerie makes a sound like a wounded animal. I walk toward the paperwork table. I don't look back. I'm filling out forms at the clerk's desk when Valerie catches up to me. Sienna, please. I keep writing. Where did you get that kind of money? I sign my name at the bottom of the page. Hand it to the clerk. Then I turn to face my sister. She looks terrible. Mascara smeared, hair disheveled, hands shaking. Behind her, I can see Derek slipping out the door. He doesn't even look back at his wife. Mom and Dad left me a trust fund, I say calmly. A private one. They knew you'd try to take everything, so they hid it. They did, Valerie. They knew exactly who you were. Her face crumples. Sienna, please. I don't have anywhere to go. Derek. She glances toward the door, realizes he's gone. He left. He just left me. I know. You have to help me. I'm your sister. I let those words hang in the air for a moment. 5 years ago, you told me I wasn't family. You said I was just the adopted one. You threw me out of our parents' house 3 days after their funeral. I was wrong. I was. I was scared, and I made mistakes. You told the lawyer I'd moved overseas so he couldn't give me my inheritance. You told our relatives I was greedy so no one would help me. You didn't just kick me out, Valerie. You tried to erase me. She's sobbing now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I look at her, really look at her, and I feel the strangest thing. Nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even pity. Just nothing. I'm sorry too, I say. Sorry it took me 5 years to learn that some people don't deserve second chances. I walk away. She doesn't follow. 1 week later, I stand in front of 247 Maple Street with a key in my hand. The house looks smaller than I remember. The paint is peeling, the gutters are sagging, the garden my father loved is nothing but weeds. But it's still home. I unlock the front door and step inside. The smell hits me first. Stale air, dust, a faint hint of mold. Valerie and Derek didn't take care of this place, didn't love it the way my parents did. I walk through the rooms slowly, cataloging the damage. Water stains on the ceiling, holes in the walls where furniture was ripped out, beer cans in the corner of what used to be my father's study. Then I climb the stairs to my old bedroom. Valerie turned it into a storage room. Boxes everywhere filled with junk, old magazines, broken electronics, clothes that don't fit anymore. But in the back of the closet, I find something she missed. A shoebox, water-damaged, falling apart. Inside, photographs. Me as a baby, wrapped in a yellow blanket. Me at 5, covered in flour from helping Mom bake cookies. Me at 12, on my father's shoulders at a county fair. Me at 18, in my cap and gown, both my parents crying with pride. At the bottom of the box, a single photo of all 4 of us. Mom, Dad, Valerie, and me. Taken at Thanksgiving, the year before the accident. We look happy, even Valerie. I don't know what happened to turn her into the person she became. Maybe she was always like this, and my parents just couldn't see it. Maybe grief twisted something inside her. Maybe I'll never know. I sit on the dusty floor, holding the photographs, and I cry. For everything I lost. For everything I found. For everything that might have been. Aunt Patricia shows up at my door the next day. She's crying before I even open my mouth. Sienna, oh, sweetheart. She pulls me into a hug so tight I can barely breathe. She smells like lavender and home and everything I've been missing. I'm so sorry, she sobs. I'm so sorry I didn't do more. I should have. It's okay, Aunt Patty. No, it's not. She pulls back, wiping her eyes. I knew something was wrong. Your mother would never have left you with nothing. I knew Valerie was lying, but I was too scared to make waves. How did you find out about the trust? Everyone's talking about it. The whole family. She laughs bitterly. Valerie told everyone for years that you ran off because you couldn't accept not being in the will. That you were bitter and selfish, and we believed her. Not everyone, I say. You left that Facebook comment. She nods. She blocked me after that, but I never stopped wondering about you. We sit in what used to be the living room, empty now except for dust and memories, and she tells me everything. The family turned on Valerie overnight. Once word spread about the secret trust, about the letter, about how my parents had spent their final months trying to protect me. Suddenly, everyone remembered the little things they'd noticed and ignored. Valerie at the funeral, making sure I sat in the back. Valerie telling relatives not to contact me. Valerie deleting comments, blocking numbers, spinning lies. She has no one now, Aunt Patricia says quietly. Derek filed for divorce the day after the auction. Her friends stopped returning calls. Even her in-laws want nothing to do with her. I should feel vindicated. Instead, I just feel tired. She did it to herself, I say. Yes, she did. 1 month after the auction. I'm in the backyard, pulling weeds from what's left of my father's garden, when I hear the gate creak. Valerie stands at the edge of the property. She looks hollow. Clothes hanging off her frame, hair unwashed, dark circles under her eyes that weren't there a month ago. Sienna. I stand up slowly, pulling off my gardening gloves. What do you want, Valerie? I need help. Her voice cracks. I have nowhere to go. No money. I've been sleeping in my car for 2 weeks. I'm sorry to hear that. Please, just let me stay here, just for a little while, until I get back on my feet. She takes a shaky step forward. I'm your sister. Please. I look at this woman, this stranger with my sister's face, and I think about all the things I could say. I could remind her of the night she threw me out, of the years I spent working double shifts just to afford ramen, of every lie she told, every bridge she burned, every chance she had to make things right. But I don't, because I'm tired of carrying her weight. No. Sienna, I said no. My voice is calm, steady. You're not welcome here, Valerie. Not because I want revenge, but because you've shown me exactly who you are over and over again, and I've finally learned to believe you. You can't do this to me. I'm not doing anything to you. I'm just not saving you from yourself. She starts screaming then, curses, threats, promises that I'll regret this. I walk back to the garden, kneel down in the dirt, and resume pulling weeds. Eventually, her voice fades. When I look up, she's gone. I don't know if I'll ever see her again. I think I'm okay with that. 6 months later. The house looks nothing like it did when I bought it. Fresh paint. A warm cream color my mother would have loved. New windows that let in the afternoon light. A garden full of roses and tomatoes and herbs, just like my father used to grow. I did most of the work myself, learned from YouTube videos and helpful neighbors, made mistakes, fixed them, built something new on the foundation of something old. Tonight, Aunt Patricia is coming over for dinner. Mia too, with her boyfriend. A few other people I've met along the way, my little makeshift family. Before they arrive, I hang one last picture on the wall. It's the photograph from the shoebox. Mom, Dad, Valerie, and me. All of us together, one last time. Aunt Patricia notices it when she walks in. Why did you keep that? She asks softly. After everything she did? I look at the photo, at my parents' smiles, at Valerie's hand on my shoulder, at the family we used to be. Because it reminds me that things don't have to be perfect to be real. My parents weren't perfect. Valerie wasn't always cruel, and I'm not going to pretend the first 23 years of my life didn't exist just because the last 5 were hard. I turn away from the photo. But I'm also not going to let the past control my future. I choose who gets to be in my life now. I choose who deserves my love. Aunt Patricia squeezes my hand. Your mother would be so proud of you. I smile. I know. That night, the house fills with laughter and warmth and the smell of good food. For the first time in years, it feels like home. And I know, finally, truly know, that I am exactly where I belong. And that's my story. Thank you for staying with me until the end. It means more than you know. If this touched you in any way, drop a comment below. Tell me what you would have done. Tell me if you've been through something similar. I want to hear your stories too. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want more. And check the description for more stories like this one. Until next time.